What you are about to experience is out of this world. Politics, history, and of course, a lot of entertainment. It's time to rock it with the Docket.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 144th episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. And if you are excited to be here as well, make sure to go down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so then you never miss one of my videos. So, 2024 has blasted off with a big bang. Not as big as a bang as January 6th, the worst day in American history, but still, however, it seems like things are going downhill fast. We finally have the release of some Epstein documents, which has shown some wild things about celebrities that you may have thought were kind and innocent, but they had different rendezvous with a notorious pedophile. Then we have Joe Biden once again making another big speech, which he has done before, and I've already made videos about. Episode 106, You Are the Enemy, aka the Blood Red background speech, along with episode 85, Agree or Else. All three of these speeches have the same exact theme. MAGA Republicans are bad, Trump is bad, and these people are literally trying to destroy our democracy, even though the Democrats are the ones that are trying to remove Trump from the ballot. The very soul of the nation was under attack on January 6th, which is the worst day in American history, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, it's annoying. However, before we get into that story, we have to dive into this Epstein stuff, because this stuff is actually shocking and affects a lot of popular people like celebrities, lawyers, princes, and politicians. Now, when it comes to these different people that were on these different Epstein documents, people assume that it means that the person that was on the documents did something inappropriate with minors. For some of these different A-list celebrities, that's the case. And you have to be careful because all of these people are innocent until proven guilty. But you would rather not have your name associated with Epstein, even if you didn't do anything wrong on the island with Epstein. Like, for all of the people that were in these different documents or court hearings, the only people that were really guilty of doing anything wrong was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Other people were kind of just mentioned. Like, for example, in one of these court documents, it showed that Al Gore was mentioned. Then you read the actual court document and the lawyer asks a victim of Epstein, "Did you ever see Al Gore on the island?" And the victim answered no. Along with that, there were other people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Cate Blanchett, Bruce Willis, and Cameron Diaz who were mentioned. Now you might be thinking, oh no, not Leonardo DiCaprio, he is my favorite actor. Once again, this was just a victim mentioning that Epstein name-dropped these celebrities because he wanted to show the girl who he knew celebrity-wise. And that's the crazy thing about all of these Epstein documents. He knew so many different celebrities. Does that mean that these celebrities did anything wrong? No, it just shows that Epstein and Maxwell were both influential people. They had money, they had fame, they had connections that were sometimes inappropriate with some celebrities, and some celebrities just were on the island at the wrong time. And I believe some of these celebrities didn't actually know what was going on behind the scenes. For example, Michael Jackson was at Epstein's Palm Beach home, but the victim claimed that she never gave Michael Jackson a massage. There was a moment where David Copperfield, a famous magician, was there at Epstein's place and was asking one of these girls where she went to school because he was trying to figure out who this girl was, and he was also hoping that this girl belonged to one of the people that were at the party and not a victim of something. Does this mean that Michael Jackson or David Copperfield did anything wrong? No, we won't know unless there are more documents that come out. There is a possibility that these men did do something wrong, or they knew what was happening behind the scenes, but right now we just don't know. Because we don't have all the evidence yet to convict these people of any wrongdoing. Then we have celebrities that are accused of doing something inappropriate, and then it comes out that the story was fake or over-exaggerated. This was the case with Stephen Hawking. Wait a minute. Stephen Hawking, the guy in the wheelchair, the one with ALS and talks with a computer computer. Yes, that guy. Now, we know from different pictures that Hawking was on Epstein's island in 2006, where there was a conference for scientists funded and hosted by Epstein. This was 5 months before Epstein was charged with soliciting prostitution in Florida. However, there were rumors that Stephen Hawking liked to watch midgets do complex math problems where they could barely reach the chalkboard. Now, I saw this and I thought, there's no way this is true. And I don't know why this story came out, but it was proven to be false. And it was actually just a silly internet meme, and there are so many memes about this going around. Another accusation was that he was there to watch an underage orgy. This was proven false by many of his friends. A professor at the University of North Carolina claimed Stephen was a very honorable man who would never be a part of an orgy. Now, I understand the memes are absolutely hilarious, but I hope you understand that when you hear that a celebrity was involved with Epstein, I hope you read the whole entire story. And I hope this shows you that what you assume could be wrong. It could just be a name drop from Epstein, but if you're reading the court documents and see that they did something bad, then maybe you should drop that celebrity from your like list. And along with that, we live in a country that follows the criteria of innocent until proven guilty. If more stuff comes out about these people that I mentioned, and they did do something terrible, like Jeffrey Epstein, then yes, they deserve their day in court where they can fight these different allegations, but if they are proven to be guilty, then they should be thrown in jail for a very long time, because this stuff is absolutely sickening. So there were people that were on this list that we can assume didn't really do anything wrong. They were sort of mentioned in passing, and we don't really know if they did anything wrong. However, there were people on this list that show and confirm that they did something terrible to minors. And one of these people was former law professor Alan Dershowitz. As in the documents, it is accused that Epstein forced then minor Jane Doe number 3 to have sexual relations with the former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, a close friend of Epstein's and a well-known criminal defense attorney. This document continues by saying, Epstein required Jane Doe number 3 to have sexual relations with Dershowitz on numerous occasions while she was a minor, not only in Florida, but also on private planes in New York, New Mexico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. In addition to being a participant in the abuse of Jane Doe 3 and other minors, Dershowitz was an eyewitness to the sexual abuse of many other minors by Epstein and several of Epstein's co-conspirators. Because of Dershowitz's power as a lawyer, he was able to get Jeffrey Epstein off of being criminally charged, as he negotiated a NPA agreement that provided immunity for Epstein from federal prosecution in the Southern District of Florida. If all of this is true, this is absolutely sickening stuff, because Dershowitz knew what was going on. He knew that Epstein was trafficking minors, but instead of helping these boys or girls that were involved, he joined in and helped Epstein do these terrible crimes. Now, Dershowitz is now fighting these different claims. Once again, these are big accusations, but he still deserves his day in court. However, if these allegations are true, then I believe that he deserves to go to jail right away. No doubt in my mind. He aided and abetted this terrible person, Jeffrey Epstein, for far too long. Like, it's just gross to think about. Speaking of gross, another person that I believe should be thrown in jail is Prince Andrew, who was mentioned a lot of times in these different court documents. As Prince Andrew, just like Dershowitz, allegedly had sex with the same Jane Doe 3 who was a minor. He had sex with this minor in Maxwell's flat in London, in New York, and on Epstein's private island, and was also involved in many orgies with young girls. Just absolutely disgusting stuff. If this is true, he definitely deserves to go to jail for a very, very long time. Apparently now he is in hiding, but I believe he should be out in the open and people should be able to see him and shame him. Now, I saved the best two for last because these people were all over the news. And the first one isn't really that shocking. It's Bill Clinton, the man that we all knew had a relationship with Epstein, because when Epstein died, they raided his house and found a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress mocking the Monica Lewinsky situation. Now, in this document dump, Bill Clinton was mentioned as Doe 36 and was mentioned a grand total of 50 times. In one of these court documents, the victim explained that Epstein once told her that Bill Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. The victim also explained that Epstein and Bill Clinton both had dealings together. Now, what these dealings entail, we don't know yet. Along with that, one of the Does was called Doe number 8, and his name was Doug Bann, who was a former Clinton aide who tried to get Epstein out of Clinton's orbit, but time and time again, Clinton found his way back to Epstein. Along with that, there were some speculations that Bill Clinton went to the magazine Vanity Fair and demanded that they not write any stories of Epstein, but that story was later changed as it was Epstein that went into Vanity Fair and demanded that the company not write stories about him, which I think it's absolutely crazy that the people at Vanity Fair actually listened to Epstein and killed the story. And this just shows how much power and influence Epstein had. He had the power to sink very famous people because he had dirt on them. Now, while it is creepy for the documents to claim that Bill Clinton liked younger age girls and he was mentioned a lot in the documents, it doesn't mean he did anything wrong. Once again, we can assume that Bill Clinton is a creep and was close to Epstein, but we need more evidence to confirm if Bill Clinton did anything wrong. Recently, it came out that one of the victims of Epstein claimed that there was a video of Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Donald Trump doing inappropriate things to minors, and she claimed that she had the tapes, but then later on, she recanted her statement and said that it wasn't true at all, and the judge and the jury had to throw that out. So there may be a possibility that we don't have any evidence at all for these different things, just the word of mouth from the victims. And I want to believe the victims and I want to hear their stories, but also we need to make sure that we have concrete evidence before we lock someone up in jail. Now, last but not least, we have Donald Trump, who was mentioned in these different documents a handful of times, as both Trump and Epstein had a relationship in the past. However, Donald Trump kicked Epstein out of his golf club after claiming in a book that Epstein hit on one of Trump's members' daughters. Today, Trump has said he doesn't like Epstein, and in 2016, he made a speech claiming that Bill Clinton will have a lot of troubles when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein situation. However, before all of this, Trump and Epstein were friends, as according to Epstein's butler, Trump dined at Epstein's Florida mansion, and according to Epstein's personal chef, the chef, had dinner with Donald Trump, which makes sense because Trump had a home in Florida, so why not one night sneak over and hang out with a friend? The butler also claimed that Trump would never stay the night and never got a massage from one of the Epstein girls, but would still stop in for a meal. Along with that, the court documents named Trump in passing, as one of the documents talks about how Epstein and some of his girls landed in Atlantic City, where Trump had a casino, and one of these girls went into the casino with Epstein, but one girl named Virginia Roberts was not able to go into the casino because she was underage. So Trump had policies at his casino that prevented minors from coming in, which sort of protected Donald Trump a little bit. If this Virginia Roberts girl claimed that Trump had sex with her, he could say no because his casino banned minors. Along with that, there was another document where the lawyer was asking one of the victims if they had seen different celebrities on the island. The lawyer mentioned Marvin Minsky. The victim said no. The lawyer mentioned George Lucas. The victim said no. Then the lawyer mentioned if she saw Donald Trump, and the girl said no. The lawyer pushed her and asked, "Did you ever massage Donald Trump?" Once again, the girl said no. Now, does this exonerate Donald Trump? No, it doesn't. It definitely looks good for Trump, but just like with everyone else I mentioned, we need to have more evidence to prove if these different people are innocent or guilty. However, as you have probably already expected, every single picture that mentions these different documents shows a picture of Donald Trump. Even though other celebrities were mentioned, it is always Trump's picture with Epstein. Now, I will say, even though I hate to say it, if more documents come out and show that Trump did do something inappropriate, then I have to be consistent and say he deserves his day in court, and if they find that he is guilty, then he should go to jail just like every single other person with this situation. Anyone who takes away the innocence of a child deserves to be locked up, but right now we just don't have enough evidence to convict anyone except for Dershowitz and Prince Andrew. Now, I hope it shows how deep all of this Epstein stuff goes, and we still have more documents to be released. So there's a possibility that we could see more incriminating evidence on different celebrities or the people that we talked about in this episode. If or when more documents are released, we could see all of Hollywood crumble. We could see more politicians involved in these different crimes. So I hope that you will read the documents and see if a person is just mentioned or if they were involved in these different acts. The really only guilty people in this situation so far is Epstein and Maxwell. Both of them did absolutely heinous things and terrible things to innocent children. And it is scary to think about how deep this actually goes and what the ramifications could be in the future for the people that were involved. Now, speaking of scary, Joe Biden decided to make a grand speech at Valley, which has historic significance, as it was an encampment for the United States Army led by George Washington during the Revolutionary War. Along with that, Joe Biden decided to do his speech on January 5th, but it was originally planned to be on January 6th, which is the worst day in American history, and this speech was given just to show how Joe Biden is just like George Washington. Joe Biden is the guy who is protecting our democracy, and he literally saved it from the MAGA Republicans. Basically, this whole speech was Biden yelling. He claimed that the Republicans have abandoned democracy and claimed that we nearly lost America on January 6th, which is the worst day in American history. If our democracy is so fragile that it can be taken over by a guy wearing horns, then I don't think we deserve a democracy. Along with that, America isn't even a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. The founding fathers consistently talked about how democracies are dangerous because it would lead to mob rule. John Adams said, "There was never a democracy yet that did not commit suicide." Just listen to what Joe Biden says here about our democracy.
Today we gather in a new year, some 246 years later, just one day before January 6th. A day forever shared in our memory because it was on that day that we nearly lost America. Lost it all. Today we're here to answer the most important of questions. Is democracy still America's sacred cause?
January 6th, the worst day in American history, was the best thing that happened to the Democrats. They just pulled that card out all the time, over and over and over again. But that's not the only card that Democrats like to use. As Joe Biden used the Nazi card, which is probably one of the most annoying things in the entire world. You can call Trump a dictator till your face turns blue, but there is no way that anyone in modern politics compares to Adolf Hitler. Here's what Joe Biden had to say about that.
He calls those who oppose him vermin. He talks about the blood of America as being poisoned, echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany. He proudly posts on social media the words that best describe his 2024 campaign, quote, revenge, quote, power, and quote, dictatorship.
You know what else Hitler and other dictators did? Arrest their political opponents and keep them off ballots, which the Democrats that are pro-democracy are trying to do right now. Joe Biden then attacks all of the MAGA movement by claiming that
as time has gone on, politics, fear, money, all have intervened. And now these MAGA voices who know the truth about Trump on January 6th have abandoned the truth and abandoned the democracy. They made their choice. Now the rest of us, Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans, we have to make our choice. I know mine, and I believe I know America's. We'll defend the truth, not give in to the big lie. We'll embrace the Constitution and the Declaration, not abandon it. We'll honor the sacred cause of democracy, not walk away from it. Today, I make this sacred pledge to you the defense, protection, and preservation of American democracy would remain, as it has been, the central cause of my presidency.
Once again, he is attacking half of the country, claiming that they are racist, terrible people, but will then say that Trump is fanning the flames of hate and division in this country. Joe Biden even celebrated that there were people that were arrested and jailed at the Capitol on January 6th. Some of those people are in solitary confinement. Some of these people were arrested just because they were on the Capitol grounds, saw the door open, and walked in. Some people were even waved in by the police. And some people told other people to go into the Capitol and riot, but they weren't even arrested. I'm looking at you, Ray Epps. Once again, there were people on January 6th, which was the worst day in American history, that did terrible things, and they should be arrested and condemned. However, I don't think that the country almost fell apart. I don't think democracy was at stake. I don't think that Trump planned it beforehand. January 6th, the worst day in American history, has become a holiday for these Democrats. We have news anchors crying on TV remembering it.
I'm going to try to get through this. Thank you for what you did 3 years ago today. Please tell me your thoughts on this third anniversary.
And we have so many people on Twitter talking about it, and I just want these people to shut up and move on. Here's the thing. Joe Biden had to make this speech for one simple reason. He knows he is losing. He knows that his policies are terrible. He knows his approval rating is in the toilet. He knows that every single poll that is coming out right now shows that Donald Trump is winning. We see Trump winning with the black vote, the Latino vote, and now even the youth vote. People are getting sick and tired of Democratic policies. And right now, we can see that Joe Biden is scared out of his mind. He is scared that his party will turn on him and kick him out and replace him with Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. He knows that his road is up. And that is why, even though it seems like the first week of 2024 has been crazy and going downhill, we can make up for it by voting for Donald Trump in November. And then we can party while we watch the news media complain and cry and talk about how we literally have a fascist in the White House, even though Donald Trump isn't even close to being a fascist. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.